Are you aware? Do you see things inside, visions unaltered, things you don't even know but can say aloud before an audience of one? Then welcome. This is Aware Talk Radio.
It's not easy trying to understand how the world can be so cold, stealing the souls of men. Cloudy skies rain down on all the dreams.
Heard worldwide here on Blog Talk Radio, 7 nights a week. I'm hosting from the shores of Seattle and down in Reno's desert, out in Montreal, Canada, and Taos, New Mexico to Texas, and of course that Big Apple in New York. We welcome you, London, Beijing, and Jaipur, down under in Oz in New Zealand. Thank you for listening. Back across the islands, Indonesia and Hawaii, we welcome you all. This is Aware Talk Radio.
No matter how your day is going, I don't care if you're stressed or you're having a bad day or whatever's happening. And for those people that are unkind to you, I want you to be really kind to them anyway. Just see what happens. I think you might be really amazed.
And that was Denise Lascano live this morning, right now, 10 a.m. on Aware Talk Radio. Great show. If you missed it, stop by Blog Talk Radio /aware.
Today's show is brought to you by Blog Talk Radio.
Or go to innercirclepublishing.com, check from the archives there. Great show this morning, and great questions in the chat room, what we were talking about. I'm not going to obviously go over the whole show. Go back to the archives and check that out. But one of the great things from the chat room here, I want to answer this question because the show dealt with intuition. The show dealt with the idea that we've given authority and power to something outside of our lives, mostly to experts or information, some outside thing that we consider to be of higher value, and thus we seek its counsel rather than the counsel of our own heart, which we're referring to in the show as intuition. So, at the end of the show here, someone asked, what does one physically do to speed up vibrational patterns? And if I understand them correctly, what they're asking is, what can we do, like on a daily basis in the real world, to speed up our vibrations and enhance our intuition, develop our awareness, increase consciousness is what they're asking. And it was a great question. We were down at the bottom of the hour and about to go off air, so it really didn't get covered either in the chat or on the show. I think, let's go back and give them some credit here. Who was that? I think we should do an entire show on this, Melissa Beck Holdwith Holden. That's a German name, but nice to meet you, and thanks for the question. What does one physically do to speed up our vibrational patterns? Melissa, that is a great question. It should be an entire show. It inspired me to do this video first thing in the morning. Here, I'm not even awake. See, I've still got my coffee. And it's just a great question. And one of the first things that came to my mind was getting your brain in sync. Getting your brain to talk to each other. Both sides of your brain to work at the same time. This is one of the simplest things that I've found that you can do. Not study, not think about, not sit and meditate, but literally put into practice in such simple ways that you will not even notice you're doing it. But it will have a long-term effect that you will notice that's occurring. For instance, and here I'm going to give you some examples of ways that you can do right now, starting today, that will start to get both sides of your brain to talk to each other at the same time. First of all, everyone knows that we're all dominant. Most people have a dominant side to their brain, just like you have a dominant hand. So one of the things you can do is to balance out that dominance, okay? The best way to do that is starting to use your other hand. If you're right-handed, if your right hand is your dominant hand, then start eating with your left hand. Start doing dominant activities with your other hand. And obviously, if you're left-handed, then use your right. The reason for this is because when you are using certain parts of your body and certain parts of your brain, there's activity. There's neurokinetic activity that's firing back and forth. And because of the dominance, usually, one side is getting more activity than the other, and that creates the dominance. To balance it out, like I said, just start using the other hand for dominant activities. That will get the chatter going where you're getting your left and right hemispheres of the brain talking to each other at the same time. When that occurs, I believe that's the process of intuition. You know those aha moments you get, the holy shit, never seen that glimpse before, you know those? That's intuition. That's that spark of intuition opening up in your brain. And we call it a spark because of the firing of the synapses. It's a neural connection that once it's opened, it's as if all information in the entire universe is in every single one of your cells, in the RNA actually. And when we experience moments such as deja vu or intuitive moments, prophecy, visions, it's as if there's a sequence inside the body, inside the human, that once just like a lock, once the chambers turn into place, boom, everything opens up, and now you just know. You just instantly know. And that's the process, I believe, of intuition, of a lot of these other experiences that all humans experience throughout all cultures and all times. I believe that's how it opens up. And so this is also the increase of vibration that Melissa's asking about in the Aware Talk Radio chat room. I believe that that is one of the best ways that you can absolutely increase your vibration on a daily basis, is getting both sides of your brain to talk to each other at the same time. Do that, and that will increase your intuition. It will heighten your sensitivity. It will bring more visions. Another thing you can do, talk to yourself. Do you talk to yourself? Do you daydream? Do you fantasize? Mentally exercise your brain. And the best way to do that is by talking to yourself. Those of you who've always talked to yourself, which most people do, I can't recall anyone who has no internal dialogue. And if you are out there, give me a call. I wouldn't mind knowing your secret. But for the most part, everyone talks to themselves. Do it consciously. Do it intentionally. You will get to the point, and many of you who've done this your entire life, you already know this, but you will get to a point when you will learn to discern the difference between when it's you listening and you seeing and you talking. You'll know the difference in the information, in the point of view that the information comes through. You'll especially know when it's you or when it's not. When you start to see information that you yourself don't know, when you start to see things you yourself haven't experienced and should have no direct way of knowing or understanding, and yet you can see it. When you start experiencing that, then you'll learn to discern the difference between when it's you talking and when it's you listening. And that's another way to increase that vibration. Every little moment, every time that occurs, it's just one more nano inch toward union. And union, I mean both sides of the brain in communication and aware and talking to each other at the same time. Another thing I'm going to suggest, this is probably not going to be popular, but turn off TV. Turn off these outside sources of not only information, but guidance. See, it's about line of sight. Line of sight works like this. A line of sight is the reason why a 150-pound man can control a 1,500-pound animal, because he's directing the animal's line of sight. Consciousness works the same way. Media and institutions, advertising, religions, governments, a lot of man-made stuff is about guiding man's line of sight, because what we think happens. It's like magic, only it's not like magic, it's just the way it works. And they know this, and so they intentionally have put things into place to guide the human's line of sight, especially on a mass scale. You need to unplug from that. You need to stop allowing some outside force, anyone, anywhere, anything, to be guiding your line of sight. You need to be directing it yourself. You need to be looking and seeing from the inside, internally, what you need to be looking at, and that is what you need to pursue. And that will become more clear to you by disconnecting from the machine, by disconnecting. Turn off 50,000 images that are being washed over your brain all day long. In every commercial, even on the internet. Even on the internet. I myself don't watch TV, yet from the internet you cannot help but see ads. You cannot help but see the same streams of, of guiding your line of sight. Hey, look at this product. Hey, look at this commercial. Hey, look at this person. Hey, look at that's all guiding your line of sight. You need to guide your own line of sight. Regardless, you need to guide your own line of sight. That will help get you more clear in looking inside, and it will also increase all this activity inside the brain that's going to answer Melissa's question, which is, how do we develop, how do we increase our vibration internally? These are just my suggestions. Again, Denise Liscano, thanks so much for a great show this morning. That was truly awareness. And I say that because as I'm listening to the show, having my cup of coffee this morning, and you mentioned the points you did, that's what opened in my brain the questions that I called in and asked. Or not even the questions, but just the insights I wanted to offer, because your insights made more open in me and made me realize that, well, wait a minute, yeah, our modern culture is giving most of our weight to the experts or to the system or to some great thing that's outside of us. That's what we're giving our energy to, and that's what we seek when we need advice or counsel. People dial a 900 number, or they go to the experts, they go to the whoever, some other thing, and ask them to give them the information, to help me make the decision, and more or less just tell me what to do. Okay? Whereas in ancient cultures, there was no higher authority than the heart, no higher authority than intuition. And they were able to achieve things that even today, with our great technology, we still can't replicate. We still can't duplicate. We can't even build. And yet maybe the intuition and the heart center and the being connected directly internally, maybe that is more key to opening up our true abilities than the false representation of doing it with technology. So, again, thanks a lot, Denise Liscano. It was a great show on Aware Talk Radio this morning. If you missed it, go to InnerCirclePublishing.com, look from the archives there. You can just press play on the player as of today, and it will be the archive show. You can hear Denise Liscano. Go to DeniseLiscano.com, check out her website, and if you're following her on Twitter at Denise Liscano, stop by and say hi, tell her what a great show that was this morning. Anyway, I'm Chad Lilly, Aware Talk Radio, InnerCirclePublishing.com and rev-press.com. Love to hear from you. Stop by, say hi. ICP Chad on Twitter. Have a great morning.